Assalamu alaikum. It is my pleasure to share with you an amazing report with the title Catalyzing Social Entrepreneurship Through Islamic Finance, a Sustainable Pathway for Socio-Economic Impact. Recently published by Islamic Development Bank Institute with authors from different parts of the world. The report highlights several important facts. It specifically addresses the issues that we are facing in today's world, where economic growth often takes precedence over social well-being. The concept of social entrepreneurship offers a refreshing perspective. Social entrepreneurs are innovating to address social issues like poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. However, their journey is often fraught with obstacles, including limited access to funding and lack of supportive policies. Islamic finance, with its emphasis on ethical and socially responsible investing, presents a promising avenue to address these challenges. By aligning financial practices with Islamic principles, Islamic finance can provide a sustainable and impactful source of capital for social entrepreneurs. Today, our panel discussion with authors of the report will explore the potential of social entrepreneurship in the OIC countries and the crucial role that Islamic finance can play in supporting its growth. We will discuss the challenges faced by social entrepreneurs, the opportunities presented by Islamic finance, and the strategies necessary to create a more conducive environment for their work. Our esteemed panelists will share their insight and experience on a number of items. They will talk about the unique value proposition of social entrepreneurship in addressing social challenges, the importance of policy framework and institutional support for social entrepreneurship, access to finance, and legal and regulatory tax environment are the two major challenges that have been identified by the authors in this report, and definitely those two would take the main stage in our discussion today. The role of Islamic finance is proving financial support and fostering conducive ecosystem would be another topic that we will talk today. By understanding the potential of social entrepreneurship and the role of Islamic finance, we can work together to create a more just, equitable, and prosperous world for all. Before we dive into the report and some of your observations, can I ask the authors of this report to introduce themselves? Professor Catherine.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Catherine Pearl, and I'm an Associate Professor Social Innovation at Mount Royal University, which is based in Canada. I'm also the Department Chair for International Business, Logistics, Supply Chain Management, and Aviation.
Dr. Reza. Thank you, Dr. Catherine. Dr. Reza, please.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Reza Chaudhary. I'm the Professor of Finance, and I'm also the Chair of Accounting and Finance Department at Mount Royal University in Canada. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Dr. Reza. Dr. Abdurrahman.
Thank you, Dr. Dawood. I'm a project manager at the UNDP Istanbul International Center for Private Sector and Development. Also work as a Director of International Center for Islamic Economics and Finance at Social Science University of Ankara. My working area: corporate governance, Islamic financial standards, Green Book, public investing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdurrahman. And my name is Dawood Ashraf. I'm Senior Research Economist at the Islamic Development Bank Institute. I'm involved in research related to Islamic finance, social entrepreneurship, and financial inclusion. So thank you very much, everybody. Let me start. Before starting the conversation, I would say that the way we have organized our today's session is more like a conversation. So there's no host as such. So I will start the conversation, and I will start with Professor Catherine. Professor Catherine, there is a growing interest and discussion about what social enterprise or social entrepreneurship is all about. Tell me, in your view, what are the more important characteristics of social enterprise that we should be aware of?
Would love to, Dr. Dawood. Thank you very much. First of all, when we talk about social entrepreneurship or social enterprise, we are talking about innovative approaches to achieve positive social change. And that's really important to keep in mind. Social entrepreneurship is really about tapping into business models, approaches, and tools to address some of the world's most pressing social, cultural, and environmental challenges. Examples abound around the world, and we do discuss a number of them in our report. However, even in the OIC countries, I have to say, when we did our research, we identified a number of terrific examples that have emerged over the years, and I'm going to talk about 4 of them in particular. So based in Pakistan, Akawat is an Islamic charity and interest-free loan provider whose mission is to alleviate poverty by empowering socially and economically marginalized segments of society. And the tool that they use to do this is interest-free microfinance instruments, as well as education. Incredibly, the organization has more than 800 branches in over 400 cities, representing 5.4 million beneficiaries across the country itself. Akawat manages the largest interest-free microloan program in the world, which really means it's having an enormous positive impact worldwide. So that's just one example. Another example that we uncovered in our research is Capmena. And this is an agri-tech and waste management startup social enterprise based in Egypt. Capmena has built a waste collection system by collecting spent coffee grounds to maximize value by reusing these grounds to develop and grow superfoods such as mushrooms, as well to support Egypt's agriculture sector by working towards and supporting responsible consumption and production, which many viewers today may understand that or may be aware of this as being representative of the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 12. The third example, based in Amman, Jordan, is Mind Rockets, another amazing organization whose mission is to make deaf and hard of hearing communities worldwide more accessible by developing assistive technological solutions. Using AI, digital avatars deliver instant translation from text to sign language in more than 8 different sign languages. And this helps empower individuals who have auditory challenges by making websites accessible in sign language. These communities are now able to access much needed government and educational programming around the world. And the last one, another really interesting example, is called Seaskin. And this was launched in 2017 in Morocco. It's a social enterprise that transforms fish waste into luxury leather goods, including wallets, bags, and shoes. Working in a small village near Casablanca in 2016, the founder, Nawal Alawi, noticed that discarded fish skins were quickly decomposing and creating significant environmental issues in her community. After a fair bit of research and experimentation, Nawal created a dry tanning process that uses 95% water, 95% less water to convert fish skins into leather, while at the same time providing training and employment to local women living in the village. So 4 tremendous examples, I believe. And so when we conceptualize social entrepreneurship, we think of these organizations, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit or even a cooperative, as operating within the parameters of a triple bottom line. And what that really means is that rather than measuring success or impact using a traditional business approach, such as how much profit do we generate, the social entrepreneur is also guided by what we call a triple bottom line. As it relates to not only the organization's profit, it also relates to what is the impact that this organization has had on people and what is its impact of this organization on our planet.
Wow, very interesting examples covering 4 different sectors. Let me ask you this question, Professor Catherine. Your research suggests that there are several challenges which prevent the expansion of social entrepreneurship sector, especially across the OIC countries. Could you share with us what some of those challenges are?
Sure, would love to. First of all, I should mention that social entrepreneurship is today recognized as one of the largest movements in the 21st century, in that millions of people are reimagining their businesses and their business models in an effort to address some of the world's most pressing social, environmental, and cultural issues. And in fact, in our research, we identified a report that was prepared by the British Council, and actually the global report on the state of social enterprise, in which it was estimated that 11 million businesses today could be identified as social enterprises. That's incredible. However, in spite of its growth worldwide, some of the challenges we are seeing in the OIC countries in particular include, and this is based on some work that we did with our focus groups, as well as a survey that we administered. The study and the report revealed a number of challenges, which my colleagues will certainly dig into a little bit more. But there were probably three overarching challenges that are probably most noteworthy in my mind. The first, and probably the most significant challenge that was identified, was access to financing, regardless of where a venture was situated in its life cycle. So access to financial tools, instruments, patient capital, angel, and impact investors aimed at assisting these entrepreneurs to start, to grow, and scale their operations is extremely limited in the OIC countries today. The second challenge that we identified in our study concerned how might the role of government be leveraged to support the expansion of social entrepreneurship. Our focus group participants, as well as survey respondents, indicated first that at all levels, government can and should play a critical role to support social entrepreneurship by creating legal, regulatory, and tax incentives that enable the creation and expansion of social entrepreneurship within OIC jurisdictions. And last but not least, there is a real need to establish a formal network or a mechanism that supports knowledge sharing across the OIC countries. Much has been learned. I've covered 4 incredible examples in the OIC, but we want to be able to share those examples and the learnings of those founders in particular. But this has not really happened to the extent that we think needs to. So in terms of lessons learned, innovation within the ecosystem, creative solutions to pressing social or environmental problems, as well as training in areas including technology and financial literacy are required.
Well, thank you, Dr. Catherine. This really good coverage of the challenges that OIC countries are facing in terms of supporting the social entrepreneur sector.
So, Dr. Dawood, I've got a question for you. And the report recommends a policy framework for social entrepreneurship. Can you tell us a little about the rationale for recommending this framework and possibly walk us through the pillars upon which it stands?
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Catherine. Let me answer this question from a layman perspective. For building a society that is both socially responsible and economically sound, we need strong foundation of values, right? Things like caring for the planet and thinking about future generation within the economic system are necessary. Now, the biggest hurdle is identifying these values and then putting those values in practice by creating a supportive institutional framework and a public policy reflecting how to implement those values in real life. So what we have done in this report is we proposed a framework to help develop the infrastructure of a functional social economy standing on 4 pillars. The framework highlights the importance values play in delivery of social good, along with institutional framework, governance system, and market infrastructure required to create a sustainable social economy. This framework emphasizes on strong institutions. Those are accountable through a proper governance system. Those continuously innovating through entrepreneurship as it engages in a marketplace. So by blending entrepreneurship with social, ethical, and spiritual dimensions, we can encourage investors to support businesses that not only make profit, as you have mentioned, but also contribute to society. So we use the Islamic philosophy as a moral compass for building that social economy. Take, for example, Maqasid al-Sharia, a set of higher level objectives, talks about protecting the environment, life, faith, intellect, and wealth for the present and the future generations. In addition, Islamic economics and finance can provide a comprehensive approach that considers all of the elements that I just have mentioned and how they interact with each other. So by using this Islamic economic framework for the social economy, policymakers can create and implement effective, sustainable policies that meet the needs of the stakeholders that they are designed to serve. Implementation of this framework is a win-win situation. Investors get to make money while helping entrepreneurs achieve both social and economic goals, and the society is better off. Consequently, the proposed Islamic framework is closely aligned with the essential goals of social entrepreneurship, fostering a supportive environment for the development and implication of policies that promote the triple bottom line, that is, people, planet, and profit.
Great,
So
thank
let
you.
me expand this discussion now and brings in Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman, the framework requires a sound legal and regulatory framework for the growth of social entrepreneurship sector. Can you tell us what are the specific legal and regulatory challenges that affect social entrepreneur sector development?
Thank you, Dr. Dawood, for this important question. Actually, a legal framework is one of the important tools for social enterprises establishment, success, and continuity. Therefore, challenges of social enterprises' legal status are directly related to different aspects, such as access to finance, fiscal aspects of their operations, like mentioned by Dr. Katrin and Dr. Reza, Dr. Dawood, by you. Social enterprises face several legal and regulatory challenges that impede their growth and ability to provide social benefits. As our report identified several challenges, the first hurdle for social enterprises is the absence of legal recognition and a clear regulatory framework in OIC countries. Social enterprises often operate under different legal forms, such as foundations, cooperatives, or companies, which may not fully align with their social missions. This regulatory ambiguity makes it difficult for social enterprises from accessing financial support, public procurement opportunities, and other benefits. In countries like Indonesia and Turkey, for example, the establishment of social enterprises in different legal forms leads to social enterprises operating in structures that not fully suit their missions. Another challenge is overregulation. It also can restrain social enterprise development by imposing excessive criteria and unclear definitions. For example, in Pakistan, the complex incorporation and renewal requirements for social enterprises lead to increased costs and regulatory burdens. These procedures not only discourage formal registration, but also distract curricular resources away from social impact activities. Also, restricted regulations might prevent social enterprises from practicing broader social goals or engaging in market activities, limiting their scope and impact. Another challenge is taxation systems. It often is not convenient with the unique nature of social enterprises. In many jurisdictions in OIC countries, social enterprises are taxed similarly to traditional businesses, despite their primary focus on social impact. This is a fiscal disadvantage for social enterprises, preventing new enterprises from formalizing and pushing many social enterprises to operate informally to avoid high taxes and regulatory costs.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdurrahman. This brings me to the next question that I have in my mind. Can you provide me more concrete example of how Islamic social enterprises can be incorporated in the modern legal system?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Dawood. During our research, we identified several best practices. First is creating dedicated legal forms for social enterprises can significantly enhance their development and recognition. This approach helps in developing targeted policies, grants, tax incentives, and public procurement benefits specifically for social enterprises. In that point, Islamic social enterprises could benefit from establishing legal forms such as public benefit companies and non-profit companies that align with Islamic principles, allowing them to distinguish themselves from commercial NGOs and businesses. In addition to providing legal clarity, these also will ensure that their unique social missions are recognized and supported within the regulatory system. Another point, the lack of clear guidelines on selecting appropriate legal entities also can lead to confusion and inefficiency for social enterprises. Creating a dedicated government agency in OIC countries to oversee social enterprise development and manage Islamic social enterprises can provide the needed institutional support, reduce bureaucratic hurdles, and foster a beneficial environment, coordinate regulatory efforts, and advocate for social enterprises-friendly policies. Such agency would play a critical role in crafting law, national action plan, and strategy for social enterprises promotion. This agency also could focus on providing mentorship, networking, and opportunity, and tailored to support Islamic social enterprises, particularly in areas like Islamic microfinance. Also, specific tax policies can significantly improve the financial burden on social enterprises. For example, social enterprises in several jurisdictions benefit from preferential public procurement policies that encourage the use of social enterprises in service delivery. As a best practice, introducing tax incentives tailored to Islamic social enterprises, such as zakat exemptions or deductions for charitable contributions, would align with Islamic values and provide much needed financial relief. Additionally, policies could offer tax benefit for activities closely tied to social impact, like microfinance services or community development projects, which are integral to many Islamic social enterprises. Hope it is can be responded.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rahman. That definitely we can see that the Islamic framework could provide a lot of support, but given the absence of the clear government policies, we cannot utilize the full potential. This brings me to another challenge that the Islamic social enterprises are facing in OIC countries. So let me bring in Raza to our conversation. Raza, given that the access to finance is a major obstacle for social entrepreneurs in the OIC countries, in your opinion, what are the most significant barriers these entrepreneurs are facing, and how can these challenges be effectively addressed?
Thank you, Dr. Dawood. I think you raised a very important question. So before we talk about the social barrier, I think we need to go back a bit and understand what are the underlying causes for this financial barriers. So in our study, we found several barriers which are very common across OIC countries. And indeed, we look into several OIC countries as a sample. I can quote some of those countries like Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Kenya, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Sudan, Turkey, Vietnam. And all these countries, there are some common barriers or issues coming which actually causing the financial barriers. And now, regardless of the social entrepreneurial businesses or some general traditional kind of businesses, we all are aware of there are some common factors involved there. Number one is the limited information about those businesses. Number two is lack of collaterals. And obviously one big problem is the financial uncertainty because they are in the growing phase and lots of financial fluctuations happen over the time. But there are some specific factors as well. Number one is financial and social objectives. Like most of the social enterprises deal with two different types of objectives, which creates some kind of misperception among the lenders or the investors, and they believe that all social entrepreneurs are mainly the non-profit enterprises. Not necessarily that is the case. Some other external factors, number one, I think my colleague, Dr. Catherine, also highlighted that one, the lack of awareness of social innovation and innovative financial products that can be available for those social enterprises. Obviously, Dr. Abdul Rahman highlighted that, lack of regulations and policies that are mostly concentrated or designed for the social enterprises. And finally, there is a lack of financial literacy, lack of networking, and all these things are causing actually financial constraint for these businesses to get the required investment from the investors or the lenders.
It means that both the social entrepreneurs are facing bigger challenges as compared with the entrepreneur who are looking for the profitable opportunities only. So this brings me to ask you questions. What type of financial products are available that could help social entrepreneurs to better access finance?
Another great question. When we did the study, we found there are several actually financial products out there. Now, the question is they might not be available for all OIC countries where the social enterprises are scattered throughout the globe. Some of the common financial products that we can highlight is something like equity impact fund. These are mainly made available for impact investment. Like one of the fund is Acumen Fund, which actually does an equity investment at the very earliest stage of the social enterprises for agricultural, education, and healthcare sector. Another important fund available widely across the board is the sustainability linked financial products. The only difference between equity impact fund and this particular financial arrangement is loan versus equity. But in this case, interest rate is charged low, and interest rate is determined by the ESG index, which is environmental, social, and governance index of different institutions. There are also blended financing available, which is a mix of debt and equity. We all know that several OIC countries are these days focusing on microfinancing. Government grants are coming up, though in a very limited scale, but still those are available. One of the important funding source this era is crowdfunding, which is online funding where investment can happen through equity or debt. And these are usually in a smaller scale. In addition to the microfinancing, there are also some program-related funds available. These are actually offered by several family foundations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Ford Foundation, etc. Financial institutions opened up investment funds. Obviously, we know the venture capitalists out there to come forward to either provide loans or equity financing. Government grants are pretty common in several OIC countries. These days, one of the important things is the crowdfunding, which is basically online funding arrangement, either equity or debt. On top of that, there are religious funding available. I think my colleague, Dr. Catherine, already mentioned about Upward Pakistan. Participatory financing, basically based on Sharia principle. And finally, and most importantly, risk-sharing equity financing, which is not widely available, but popping up these days, where actually lenders or investors equally share the risk with the investors. So these are several exciting financing arrangements available. Whether those are widely accessible to many OIC countries, that is something, next phase of question that we need to deal with. Now I will move to another interesting question, and that question is somehow connected with my part of the question, but I will put it to Dr. Dawood. And the question that I have here, how can Islamic financial instrument be used to support social entrepreneurs at various stages of their development, from idea generation and funding to scaling and impact management? Dr. Dawood.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raza. You have switched it very well. Let me answer your question from the perspective of the organizational life cycle theory. What this theory does is it advocates for a diverse range of financial products to support social entrepreneurs at various stages of their development. For example, a startup has different financing need as compared with the mature multinational corporation. So one size fits all approach may not be suitable for all these organizations. Islamic finance, as it is practiced for centuries, it balances the profit with social and religious responsibilities. You will find a broad spectrum of Islamic financial products to meet the diverse need of social entrepreneurs at different stages of development. These includes, among those instruments are the grants, interest-free loans, participatory financing, and equity financing. And as the name suggests, that these names are not uncommon within the finance community. Take example, for example, the startups and early stage ventures, a grant and interest-free loans are often the most suitable options as they do not have huge capacity to repay back. So at that stage, the Islamic endowment funds and Zakat associations can provide grants to worthy causes, while Islamic microfinance institutions like Akhuwat we just have mentioned can offer interest-free financing to help entrepreneurs get their business off the ground. Grants and interest-free lendings are an integral part of Islamic social finance that have been tested for centuries for promoting economic growth and entrepreneurship while adhering to ethical and moral principles. Islamic endowment funds, often known as Waqf, and various Zakat associations provide cash grants to those in need. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, organizations like Akhuwat provide interest-free loans to entrepreneurs. Now, as a social enterprise grows and expands, the needs can be met using the participatory finance. Islamic financial institutions such as Islamic banks, they provide participatory loans and equity financing such as Murabaha, Musharaka, and Mudaraba, typical Arabic term. These are the common form of participatory finance and partnership that allows entrepreneurs to share risk and reward with investors. These partnerships can provide capital needed to scale the operations and reach a wider audience. For mature social entrepreneurs who are seeking for funding, equity financing can be a viable option. Islamic equity financing, similar to venture capital, involves investing, acquiring ownership in the business in exchange of capital. This can provide substantial funding needed to grow and support the enterprise at the mature stage. So beyond traditional financing instrument, innovative approaches are emerging within the Islamic finance, using the Islamic finance principle, with the goals to provide support to social enterprises. These include blended funds, which combine the commercial capital and philanthropic resources. They can offer a unique blend of financial support. Impact investing is another option where investors can prioritize social and environmental impact alongside the financial return is another promising value for social entrepreneurs using Islamic financing instruments. So now this diversity of Islamic financial instruments ensures, to answer your question, this diversity of Islamic financing instrument ensures that social entrepreneurs have the necessary support at every stage of their growth. By understanding the different options available and tailoring their financing strategies accordingly, social entrepreneurs can maximize their impact and achieve their development goals.
Thank you, Dr. Dao. That's a very exciting response. But then I will just move to perhaps our last question in this session. I understand that the reports highlighted some primary challenges such as access to finance and the regulatory and legal barriers and reforms, etc. But those may take some time to address. Could you please discuss some of the most immediate strategies or program that could be implemented to enhance the social entrepreneurial engagement and development within the OIC member countries?
No, thank you very much. It's an amazing question. See, if I'm looking at some low-hanging fruit after conducting this research with all of you, I think there are three things that we could do to improve the life of these social entrepreneurs. One is we understand that there is a lack of awareness what social entrepreneurship is. The focus group that we have done, many participants and also the survey respondent indicated that there is a need to educate the public. Not only public, but also government and regulators about what social entrepreneur is, what promise and potential it could bring in to society and communities. Generally, to the marginalized population. So given the lack of awareness within the public as well as in the government and regulators, one thing we could do as an academic is to seek creation of more labs, accelerators and incubators, specifically aimed at promoting the work of social entrepreneurs in communities through case competitions, in-person class lectures, podcasts, social enterprise sprints, or development of courses focused on social entrepreneurship. This will help us to inculcate the knowledge at the grassroots level. Another thing I would say as the low-hanging fruit, as was highlighted by the respondent of the focus group, that there is a need for access to additional training around financial literacy of the social entrepreneurs to support in their business plan development. Especially, this would be needed when they are pitching their plans to potential funders. This will help them to present their cases to funders in such a way that funders can understand not only the financial value, but also the social value that these social entrepreneurs are bringing in. So in short, we need to enhance, to get the benefit of this report, we need to enhance the awareness of what social entrepreneurship is. We need to enhance the knowledge by creating more labs, accelerated incubators, and also we need to provide additional training to the social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, so that they can get access to more funding.
Thank you so much. That's the very exciting answers, and we have learned a lot from your response. So thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Like all good things, we need to close down our session today as well. So thank you very much for bringing, for putting in your insight into the understanding of social entrepreneurship, discussing about the outcomes of the report that we did. For our audience, the report is available at the website of Islamic Development Bank Institute, and the link is provided at the end of the session. Thank you very much for your time, and you all have a good day.